Alright, so let's get this party started. Let's take the how sexist are you actually quiz. Alright, let's get started. What percent sexist are you? I have no idea. Let's see. Find out what biases lurk deep inside you. More questions will appear as you go along. So basically this is just you answer one question and then it automatically takes you to the next question and so on and so forth. So yeah, let's see how horribly sexist and misogynist and possibly racist and homophobic, whatever else BuzzFeed wants to fucking interpret into this thing, I actually am. So, we're going to begin with the first question. No. Who should be the excuse me. Who should be the breadwinner? Who should the bread... And again, first question, and BuzzFeed is already making me retarded. Who should the breadwinner of the family be? Of a family be? The man? The woman? Whoever gets paid more? It doesn't matter. The dog? Well, in this case, I think the answer is quite obvious. It's obviously the dog. But yeah, we're just gonna check the actual answer that I would give, which is whoever gets paid more, don't matter. Who should spend more time on the housework? Men? Women? It should be shared responsibly. It should be a shared responsibility. By the way, independent white power. Last one is nobody. We should live in a squalor. Okay, but it's not a good idea, I guess. So we're gonna check. It should be a shared responsibility, obviously. Have you ever described a girl as slutty? Yes, but only when she was so slutty in the past, but I feel bad about it now. I think it sometimes, but I never say it. And lastly, I would never. Well, I guess that's not true for me because, well, you know, if a girl looks like a fucking hooker, you gotta tell her that she looks like a fucking hooker. So, yes, but only because she was so slutty. Now we get to the interesting part. There are several, what you're seeing here, this big thing. There are like 5, 6 maybe of these kind of questions. And the important thing about this is this here. Without thinking. Because, of course, why would you want to use your brain? But we're gonna get to that, take that apart in a later, I'll take that apart later. And so yeah, I'm just gonna turn off my brain, pretend I don't know anything about these two people, or what kind of boss for what kind of job in what part of town we're talking about. And yeah, I'm just gonna pick the suit guy. Answer honestly. Have you judged a woman's intelligence because of the way she speaks? Maybe, but I didn't feel great about it. All the time, to be honest. Nope. In this case, we're gonna have to go with all the time, to be honest. Because even though SJWs and BuzzFeed doesn't want to admit it, of course you can judge someone's intelligence just by how they speak. For example, if they're using a lot of very complicated words and phrases and a lot of foreign words, you can pretty much, at least I would say, that they're not really that intelligent. They just want to think or make you think that they are by using all these complicated and long words. So yeah, all the time, to be honest. Why do you think there is a gender pay gap? There isn't. But let's just go over the answers that you can give. There isn't one. Pay discrepancies exist because women choose lower paid work. There just aren't enough women qualified to be in the senior positions at the companies, or they're not interested in higher management. Because women and the work they do are seen as less valuable. And the obvious choice here is number one. There isn't one. It's your choice as a woman, as a man, to work wherever you want. And again, we have a great, without thinking, pick a doctor. Okay. Why do you think there are so few women in politics? Let's see what BuzzFeed has as possible answers. Because men are more naturally suited to leadership and politics. Because women have babies in their 30s. Because voters are sexist. Of course. Women aren't supported in government and face so much harassment. Really? I think I'm going to contest that. Because they just don't want to be. Okay, this one is a bit difficult because I'm not interested in leadership in politics. In this case, I guess the honest answer would be the last one, which is also very similar to here. Why do they think there's a gender pay gap? There isn't one. Pay discrepancy, lower paid work. Yeah, because they don't want to. Again, a lot of women in the US and here, unfortunately, doing gender studies instead of politics. Do women make good bosses? No, they have too much to prove, so they're just bossy. Yes, but not usually better than men. Yes, of course. In this case, we're gonna have to go with yes, but usually better, not usually better than men. Which, I don't know what that implies. Whatever. Without thinking, pick a nurse. Okay. Can women be great mathematicians and scientists? No, otherwise we'd see more of their achievements in history. Depends. Women's brains are better suited to linguistic and emotional intelligence. Yes, even if they have to plow through more BS to get there. Let's see. I'm gonna have to go with the second one, because that is actually kind of true. If you lost a sport to a woman, how would you feel? Annoyed, but I'm also a woman, so I wouldn't have anything to do with gender. Embarrassed. Annoyed because it's not like other girls. Because I'm not like other girls. I'm good at sports. Happy. Good for her. She's so sporty. Livid, but only because I'm incredibly competitive. Which is also what I would check, because it's the only one that's vaguely sensible. Without thinking, pick a professor, but before I start not thinking, I'm gonna have a drink. That was scripted, by the way. Nothing is unintentional here. Okay, let's choose the Darwin-looking guy. Can women be funny? They're generally less funny because they don't have to be funny to attain a mate. No, women are expected to be nice and quiet by society, which is very unfair but leads to them being less funny. Yeah. Okay, I guess in this case the last one is again the most sensible choice here, so we're going to click that. Who should spend more time raising kids? Mothers, fathers, whoever is able to. Well, you know what my answer to that would be? Couldn't that do the dog from, what was it? Let's go way back. I think it was like the beginning. Here. Breadwinner. Shouldn't that be the dog? But unfortunately, the poor dog is left out in this question. So, yeah. Whoever is able to. Because it takes two, dumbass. Has anyone ever called you sexist? Let's see what results we get from this test and the possible comments down in the comments section. Let's see what they get. Yes, it happens all the time. Like once or twice. Never. I have been accused of reverse sexism and it made me lol. Well, in this case, we're gonna have to go with never. Do you think sexism still exists? Nope. It's just as bad as it used to be, so I think people are... It's just not as bad as it used to be, so I think people are exaggerating how bad it is now. Yep. Okay, so those were the three answers. Nope, they're not as bad as it used to be, and yep. Just in case, just to clarify that. Sexism still exists. Well, considering this is BuzzFeed and we're dealing with first world problems, yeah, and the fact that you guys, that like feminists who run this retarded ass website are even allowed to run a retarded ass website like this, no, it does not. Let's see. What percentage of sexist are you? You got 61% sexist. I'm gonna have to go a little closer to the screen. This is very little, very tiny writing. Let's see. Yikes! Okay. This is a thing you can work on. It's not too late for you to become less of a sexist. Come join us in 2017 because the only good thing about the 50s was the hair. Okay, so apparently I am a complete and total sexist, may as well be 100% according to this shitty website. But what did you expect when some answers you're not even supposed to use your fucking brain? And some of these answers are obviously suggestive, highly suggestive questioning and answer multiple choice options. So yeah, it's very easy to get 61% or even 55%, like 50 to 60, whatever percent, just because the way this is structured. And I think I got a hair. Got a fucking hair on my glasses. Fucking shit. Yeah, just by the way these questions are structured, and again, the sort of algorithm that we saw with the other test, depending on what questions you choose to what questions you answer, that's the kind of result that you get in the end. So nothing new here, but as I've said, we're not done yet. Now we're going to go way back to the beginning, and after a short cut, we're going to take a look at this quiz and actually, in this case, use our brains. So, see you in a minute. Bye. Okay, so we're back, and this time we're going to actually use our heads. Well, I'll use mine, and you may use yours. I don't think head swapping is going to go that well. Oh, this piece of shit lid. Piece of shit cat. Fuck it. Okay. So, we're going to go through some of the questions and answers, and yeah, let's discuss this a bit. Who should the breadwinner of the family be? The dog? Can I choose the dog? No, I can't in retroactively. No, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna do this, the hell is that? Oh, well, who cares? How well percentage are you? Alright, fuck it. We're doing this differently. This time, I'm gonna give the answers that... give different answers. Mostly the answers that they want me to give. And we're just gonna talk about all of that. Do the same thing again. Actually use our brains this time. But this time choose the answers they want us to give. Except for the first question, where, of course, we will be, as I've said, the breadwinner of the family should definitely be the dog. The dorg. Who should spend more time on the housework? Yeah, both of them, But since this is BuzzFeed, we're gonna choose men. Have you ever described a girl as slutty? As I've said, yep, definitely. And of course, what they want is here. In the past, but I feel sad about it now. Bad about it now. That's what they want us to think. Okay, except for these ones here, where we are actually going to think about this for a moment. Okay, so we're gonna have to pick a boss. First question is, for what job? I mean, if we're talking about a bank or any kind of executive position anywhere, we're obviously going to take the suit guy. But if we're talking about, like, I don't know, a bookstore, a flower shop, any kind of retail store or whatever, that's like not maybe for some high paid posh guys or something, just like your everyday normal small town retail outlets, retail store, then yes, of course we're gonna pick the lady in the black dress, I think is what that looks like. Yeah, and of course there's the difference between, I'd say, whether it's a town or a city. I guess in a town you'd be more, people wouldn't be that, I'm looking for the word, mean isn't it, would treat you differently if you wore a lax outfit than if you were always running around in tie and suit. Yeah, so it all depends on what job it is and I guess where it is. But of course, since this is BuzzFeed, we're of course gonna pick the lady in the black dress, I think it is. Answer honestly. Intelligence because of the way she speaks? Again, yes. Yes, of course. Why wouldn't you conclude that someone who talks horseshit is completely retarded? Maybe, but I don't feel great about it. I guess that's the answer they want us to give, because it's all about the feels and not the facts. Why do you think there is a gender pay gap? There isn't one. I know at least in the US, that's highly illegal if you actually did this, and you'd have a huge fucking lawsuit on your ass if you did this as a company. Let's see. Are seen as less valuable. I don't think that you want me to give that. Management. This is difficult because they all sound negative, and there isn't one qualified at being senior positions at the companies not interested in higher management. Because women in the work they do are seen as less valuable. I think I'm gonna check the last one. I assume that's the answer they want us to give, but I'm not sure. Again, without thinking, except that's what we're gonna do, pick a doctor. So we have the choice between this middle-aged gentleman and this young woman who I'm just gonna assume she came straight from university and is just starting out. At least I assume that based on the way she looks. Maybe she is in her 30s and she's worked in the sector for several years. I don't know. But again, it just says pick a doctor. Doesn't matter what kind of doctor for what special field. Doesn't matter their qualifications. Doesn't matter how long they've worked in this. Of course not. We're just gonna have to, or they just assume that it's because one is a guy and one is a girl. So obviously, this time, we're gonna pick the girl, the woman, because I'm assuming that's what they want us to pick. So, okay. Why do you think there are so few women in politics? Let's see. I think that's the first. The first one is the one that they because voters are sexist. That's the one. Because remember, we're trying to get like maybe 10%, 20% sexist, like the least amount of sexist that this algorithm then spits out. So yeah, because the voters are sexist, of course. Do women make good bosses? Prove they're just bossy. Yes, of course. Without thinking, pick a nurse. Ooh, I chose this lady in purple. One with the... Now they all have that thing around. Okay, what do they want us to pick? So that we're not... This is actually kind of tough, because even though the dude in the middle with the glasses is a dude, it's a nurse job. So, let's see. Well, this one looks like she's like Spanish or something? I don't know. I think they want us to pick the dude. Can women be great mathematicians and scientists? Yes, even though they put a lot of BS to get there, I think that's the one that they want us to pick, again, for the least amount of sexism score. So, yeah. If you lost at a sport to a woman, how would you feel? Again, this is a very difficult thing because annoyed, but I'm also a woman, so it wouldn't have anything to do with gender. And because I'm not like other girls, I'm good at sport. Live it because that's the question. What do we pick? What's gonna give us the least amount of sexism thing? The problem is they're all talking about women feeling about women in sports. That's kind of difficult, which is why I have another drink. I could choose embarrassed because, again, it's BuzzFeed, SJW's feminism. It's the feels that count, not the facts. But, no, it's not like other girls. I'm good at sport. Maybe go for her. This is very confusing, or not confusing, but difficult to answer. But since we have to pick one, since I have to pick one, we're going to go with the first one, because it's the only thing that somehow relates to gender, and fuck it. Now, without thinking, except this time, we're actually going to use our brains and think about this a bit more thoroughly. Pick a professor. So we have the choices between this dude, Darwin, and Buffy's mom. Question is, professor of what? I mean, it depends on what we're studying, and again, it depends on how, if we had to like just pick a professor, just like, it will also depend on his credentials and how many papers he or she has published, all this sort of stuff that would factor into picking a professor. Again, for no reason, mind you, they just say, without thinking, pick a professor. Why? Because the quiz says so. Maybe that's the reason. But of course, since we want to have a low sexism rate, we're going to choose Buffy's mom. Can women be funny? Mate? Yeah, I guess in this case the answer is the same that I actually gave. Yeah. Who should spend more time raising kids? I guess in this case, again, difficult, but we're gonna say fathers. Has anyone ever called you sexist? Never. Let's see. Do you think sexism still exists? I guess in this case they want us to use... do they want us to use yep or nope? Because if you choose yes, that might mean you think sexism is actually a thing, which would, in their crazy logic, make you sexist. But I think they mean that if you don't think sexism exists, then you are sexist. So we're gonna choose yup. Yay! You got 7% sexist. Let's see what it reads. You know what? We're all a little bit sexist. After all, it would be hard to grow up and exist in society as we know it, because that is actually fucking capitalized here, and to not come away with a smidge of bias. But better to know it's there so you can keep working on it. So, yeah. Okay, 2 things that we've noticed about this result. For one, of course, it just proves the algorithm thing that I've been talking about in this video, and the one where we determined how much of a privileged fuck I am. This is just an algorithm, and it certain answers that you give in this specific, or certain suggestive answers that you give, depends on the result. And what's also interesting is about the thing that I just read. There's not even sort of a, how should I say, applause or congratulations or any sort of stuff where it basically says, good for you. You're not very sexist at all. You are on the right side of gender issues, and there are a few things that you could work on. No, this basically, like, if you read the first sentence, you know what? We're all a little bit sexist. Right off the bat, it's already being condescending to you, even though you've marked everything that, at least I assume, that they want you to mark. Anyone watching this video, do this test and find out what answers you have to check to get 0%, and likewise, what answers you have to check to get 100%. I'd be really interested to know what kind of, or what answers you need to check, what kind of answers they want you to give to get these two completely opposed ends of the spectrum. But this one, I'm not gonna post on Facebook, so this was this video, and I'm having a thought. There are a few other sort of quizzes like that on BuzzFeed. Entschuldigung. A few of these on BuzzFeed that tackle like things like romance and relationships, and just want to know how much of a fucking sexy beast I am, and I thought I'd go through some of those, so that could be funny, I guess. But for now, for this quiz that we've determined I am, what was it? 61% sexist. Okay. Speaking of which, we've covered privilege and sexism, and I'm pretty sure there's a quiz like that where it's like, how racist are you really? I'll look out in the Drunken Peasants fan club page on Facebook. Maybe someone posts a link to that sort of quiz, but for now, this was that. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.